Welcome to the Proving Grounds, where dreams are made and heartbreak is sown. And as we crest into the best of fives for this tournament, the pressure has never been higher. Since January, these players have been putting in their all, leaving nothing to chance and laying it all on the line. The path has been long, it's been treacherous, but this is what makes all of those blood, sweat, and tears worth it. This is where all of that effort you have collectively put in culminates. This is your chance to prove yourself. So go out there and seize it. I'd like to bring in my casters, Rafa and Joshi, because today we book our first grand finalist in the Proving Grounds of Spring 2022, and it is going to be one of the two teams, Golden Guardians Academy or Team Liquid Academy. And I want to see what my wonderful casters, as I wanted to have them in earlier.
That's okay. Goosebumps.
But
Goosebumps.
Welcome, Joshi. Welcome, Rafa.
Damn.
And very, very nice to have you guys here alongside for our first best of five.
Yeah. I my favorite part is you sat there with the prove yourself, and I got it going right here. We got our Proving Grounds merch from last year ready to go once again. And I just feel like we are finally at the spot where we get to really see all the cool storylines starting to come to a close between Golden Guardians and Team Liquid, because this isn't the first time that they've played. They 2-0'd each other back-to-back during the regular season, and now they're here in Winners Finals.
We have so much to cover between not just the teams, but the players involved as well. There's such a rich history that extends beyond just here in North America and in Proving Grounds last year. This goes multi-regional, baby.
Exactly, and that's the beautiful thing is, and it's so interesting. We got Team Liquid, who have always shown up in the past, and now we have Golden Guardians making a surge here in Proving Grounds this year. I think it's such a beautiful story itself. But before we get to all of that wonder, I do want to kind of take a little bit of a history trip. It feels like long ago, but we did have our Academy regular season, and I think one of the biggest things that we were trying to culminate through this whole split was the Most Valuable Prospect Award. And going into that a little bit more, we have our winner, obviously, that will be discussed at a later date. But we have some, honorable mentions that we did want to talk about. And these honorable mentions are for the Academy regular split. Yes, we are into Proving Grounds itself, but we did want to give a little bit of a harken back. And this one is specifically Cowrie as a Most Valuable Prospect honorable mention for Evil Geniuses Academy. So we put together a little bit of a video to showcase this talent and the player himself. So let's take a look.
While the award will not be going home to Cowrie, he was my first choice for Most Valuable Prospect, and we thought it'd be a good idea to walk through some of the better plays that Cowrie had this split and why we feel like this player can be elite at the next level. Something that I always really look for in marksman play is when marksmen are able to pick the right spots to go aggressive. This is something that Cowrie does very well, and it's displayed in this clip. This is an easy fight to choose to front to back and play behind your tanks. But Cowrie sees the backline of 100 Thieves Academy alone, goes in, takes them out, and cleans up the rest of the fight. This is something that Cowrie does superbly overall in his play, and when he is on point, you get moments like this. Picking your right spots as a marksman can be difficult, especially when you are behind. In this second clip, this is one of the bigger goal differentials that EG was able to overcome in the split, and a lot of this is thanks to Cowrie. This play is opened up by the fact that he was able to sidestep the ultimate from Aphelios, but then Cowrie, seeing all the cooldowns being burned by FlyQuest, picks the right spot to flash forward and clean up everyone else on the enemy team. The very first set of games we saw from Cowrie in week 1, and he set the tone that he was an elite marksman early on in the season. Looking at this clip, Cowrie is able to utilize his ultimate and Gale Force to take down the first target, but then he is able to kite out everyone, keeping himself out of harm's way for the vast majority of this fight. And the moment that Team Liquid decides to fight into the choke, Cowrie has the reaction speed to cleanse, flash out of the way, and clean up the rest of this team fight against Team Liquid Academy. Again, this was from the very first week of Academy play. Cowrie set the tone early in the season that he was going to be an elite marksman in Academy and fulfilled those expectations throughout, even if EG was a team that was lower in our standings. The former TCL MVP made a big splash in his first split of Academy. I really believe that Cowrie will be an elite player moving forward. I'm really looking forward to seeing him continue to play in the summer split.
I always appreciate getting to shine a little bit of a spotlight on our top players in Academy, and Cowrie is definitely one to watch out for, right, Joshi?
Yeah, he is definitely one of the players that we were paying attention to as one of the front runners in terms of who was likely to be picking up votes. And ultimately, just the way that he was playing just kind of spoke for itself. I'm really excited to see what this player does next. And I had them as my dark horse because of this player. Guys, like it was almost
Do we
entirely
want
like
to get in the
Cowrie
dark
is
horse
sick, you
conversation?
guys.
I'll put my crown on. I don't know if you want, like.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
this-
guy gets the only dark horse, and then suddenly he puts himself as the best analyst on the desk. I don't know.
Absolutely. Results-based analysis. I mean,
At
come
least
on
Smack's
now.
also lost. That makes me feel a little bit better. Because
Just
he gets
throw
number
him
one
under
seed
the
in the
bus
entire
like
tournament
that.
as his dark horse, Mark. That's not fair.
But in all
Love you,
actuality, right, being able to see Cowrie at least performing in the Academy regular season was an incredible thing. And shout outs to Cowrie. Can't wait to see next split. Now we got to turn our attention to the current standings of Proving Grounds, the current location that we're looking at, because it is the upper bracket finals. The winner here goes on to the grand finals, and they are going to definitely want that opportunity to take a little bit of a break and get some information on the other teams.
Yeah, if you're a little bit newer to brackets, whoever wins this is guaranteed a top 2 finish, while the loser is going to have an opportunity to play through the lower bracket a little bit more. And we will, in fact, be having opportunities to see these players live at the LCS studio. Not going to wait on an okay from that, but we will, in fact, have an opportunity to see all of them, and it is going to be a great time. You always want to have an opportunity to see all the opportunities to play in studio because the environment is just so different.
You get to be on stage. You get to see your. I mean, obviously, all the teams are playing with each other in their separate gaming studio setups at the at their separate compounds. But going to the LCS stage itself, a place that all of those Academy players want to aspire to be playing on someday, gives them a taste of what that can be like as they continue their pro career.
Exactly, and it couldn't be a better opportunity for any of the players in Proving Grounds. But we got to take a look at the lower bracket. Rather, we just looked at the upper bracket because we have to see the path to join whichever team wins today, and we still do have a decent amount of series down there in the lower bracket, and it is all elimination from here.
Oh, for sure. And I gotta point out the one that I'm really excited about, Cloud9 versus 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves Academy have been surging recently in their ability to take down CLG, the number 1 seed in the entire tournament. Of course, Cloud9 only kicked down by Team Liquid, who are currently in winners finals. So there's a lot riding on here, and of course, who could forget Immortals and FlyQuest on the other side of the bracket?
Bro, I mean, when we look at the Immortals Academy and the FlyQuest Academy Best of 5 tomorrow, that is a story of both two teams who got there, who were barely on the brink of either in Immortals Academy's case, barely almost defeating Golden Guardians had it not been for what happened in Game 3, and then for FlyQuest Academy, all thanks to Spirax, who saved the game time and time after in the base defense against Dignitas, stealing the Elder Dragon, pushing them to a Game 3, and then from there, FlyQuests are pretty much the team that are making a huge Cinderella run all the way from the play-in stage.
Spirax doing his Darkwings impression as well. Really looked pretty good.
Yeah. Philip stands unite as well for the top lane there. But we got to talk a little bit about our best of 5 today, the upper bracket finals, the ticket booked, book your ticket to the grand finals there. And it is going to be Team Liquid Academy versus Golden Guardians Academy. Team Liquid Academy themselves, renowned in the Proving Grounds already to an extent, but Golden Guardians on that side have been a very interesting story to watch. And for that Golden Guardians roster, when you're looking at the TLA roster, it's a scary thing to kind of behold because of the amount of experience, because of the amount of synergy between this entire squad.
Yeah, we got 4 members returning from the team that won last time around, right? Armeo, Harry, Jan, and Ayla all looking absolutely stellar. And Bradley on one of the best amateur teams from Proving Grounds Summer 2021. There's a lot of experience that you're going to be looking at.
There is indeed. And now we got the Golden Guardians Academy roster up on your screen with some experience of their own right. Maybe not the same track record in Proving Grounds, but Rafa, this team is no slouch, and especially Tommy in the mid lane. Ryoma has been popping off.
Ryoma, the Proving Grounds Summer champion, alongside 100 Thieves Academy roster at the time, which was Gumsu, Chad, and then Luger and Poom, all now on different respective teams for the most part. And when you're looking at Ryoma on this new roster, a lot of the questions we had about Golden Guardians Academy coming into Academy Spring was, can this roster really live up to the experience that is pretty much shared around a lot of the players for this roster? And I think one of the bigger questions was going to be Iconic after stepping down from the LCS squad.
I think that's the most interesting point, right? Is the jungle for both of these teams is so matter of fact in the way that Armeo, the general of the team, the dad of the team, right? He's honestly, it's so incredible in the communication that you see from this guy, the way that he kind of controls the map, and Iconic playing towards his carries, playing towards his mid lane. This matchup is so crucial into how both of these teams want to function. You look at the jungle proximity for TL.
Yeah, I think the great thing about both these teams is how fluid they're able to play, right? You have carries in every single role that you can play towards, and with the way that we've seen them play so far, if somebody's having a good game, you'll very quickly see Armeo say, oh, everybody else, it looks like you guys can handle yourself. I'm going to make sure that I can actually snowball this guy into the rest of the game. And that's something that makes Team Liquid so dangerous, is you can't discount any single one of their lanes.
Exactly. And I love to see, that mid lane focus. But you boy Bradley, I'm gonna get a little bit of love for Armeo himself. But on the other side, you also do got to look at Iconic himself, because being able to see that jungle proximity, see where those resources go, it is about the same on the side of Golden Guardians,
Look
but
at
with some
Stixxay.
different names. Hey.
I mean, apart from Stixxay, which, for this Golden Guardians roster, Stixxay having to play while they were trying to get Violet's visa issues straightened out. Unfortunately for them, they weren't able to, get them straightened out until towards the end of week 7. And so that's why we didn't really get that much Violet stats for the Golden Guardians Academy, because it was literally only just 1 week. And, and yeah, it was a super week, but still not that much sample size. But for the most part, Iconic, I think what both Iconic and Armeo share as junglers is there's a lot of jungle proximity, but when you go back and look in the replays, you see that there's not that much action early game around the mid lane. There's not a ton of skirmishes, but it's just the junglers pathing around them saying, hey, I'm here for a checkup. Are you good? You got your wards. You got your side lane brushes warded out.
Are you hydrated?
Is he picking on you again? Is he bullying you? He's like, no. I just need to push in this wave. All right, I got you. I'll chill here.
Yeah.
I'll delay my recall. Make sure that you get in your wave call.
And I think that's where, when we're highlighting both these junglers, but specifically Armeo, you get to see that kind of general lead from his side and the way that kind of the game gets dictated by Team Liquid itself, Joshi.
Yeah, I think the big thing that we kind of saw throughout the entire thing, right, is as we start paying attention to the way that Armeo has been playing, what he was so good at last year and what we've continued to see is his ability to manufacture fights later on in the game. He is so good at making sure that his lanes are going to be in an even state in the mid game, and then once you get there, he's able to take so much charge. This Nocturne that we saw towards the end of Proving Ground Summer is once again making a resurgence for this guy. The Hecarim allows him to get these engages all by himself, and when you see him have the ability to hit whatever target that he wants, Armeo, even though he's not the most mechanically flashy player, is always going to be standing in the right place.
This particular combo between Nocturne and Ahri was so damn good against Cloud9, because between just Armeo and Harry, you have so much agency and mobility to just say, okay, we're going to fight now. We're going to fight now. We're going to pick off this guy now. And,
go.
Especially against most compositions or teams that are just now starting to adapt again to how they have to play against Nocturne in particular. It takes a little bit of a learning curve to remember, oh yeah, even if I don't see Nocturne on my screen, he could be in Fog of War, and then suddenly he's on top of me, and I can't see anyone else.
And that's what I love about Armeo, because he's always leading the charge. We got to see some Hecarim in there, so I figured the pun was worth it. But leading the charge in all actuality for Armeo is the way that Team Liquid find a lot of their advantages, especially in that mid game. And looking at Iconic, I feel like, it could be judged as the same story, but I feel like it's a little bit of a different approach for Iconic himself, who is a bit of a storied player in his own right.
Yeah. For Iconic, it's weirder because Iconic doesn't necessarily force a lot of the engages for this team. He's someone that comes in more of as a secondary damage source, right,
Yeah.
Josh?
Yeah, for sure. And I think we're kind of seeing a little bit of that, right? He tends to play around the bottom lane so much when Stixxay was playing for the team, and a little bit lower now that Violet has joined. But you also notice that he hasn't been putting a lot of pressure towards the top lane. Tony Top actually has one of the lowest jungle proximity in the entire Academy season. And as we see him play, the more Iconic is having the success, he's playing some very standard champions, right? There's a lot of Viego, Diana, Xin Zhao, J4, champions that can just kind of go in and just be in front to make sure that he can hold whatever front line the enemy is playing in one spot and just really allow Ryoma and Violet to take over a lot of these team fights.
And when you look at Iconic's history as well, coming from back in Maryville University, he was always someone that came through with a lot of damage, but always had a stronger voice in through the support role. Back at Maryville University with Shady, and then, you know, LCS or Academy now, it is Chime, right? And I think off of the back of Chime's calls, Iconic is great on the follow-up engage, and he's always in the right place at the right time. And so he's there as like, okay, I'm making sure that I'm holding this team together as, you know, the stronger voice in Chime makes the call for the engage.
And I think, you know, it all, I know how much importance mid-jungle duos had in this split just by the meta dictating that, but in this matchup specifically, I feel like that's where both these teams get a lot of the ground underneath them, a lot of the stability to make the decisions they want to make. But if you know, have any idea of what I'm going to say next, I hope you do, because you got to go follow Path to LCS on Twitter, because that is where you get any of the information about Proving Grounds, about NA Developmental, about Academy, about Amateur, about anything you want to know centered towards the development of NA talent. You got to go to @PathToLCS, and you know, any content that we put out is going to be posted on there. Any update of match information is going to be posted on there. So if you're not already following, don't know what to tell you, but you need to go hit that button. And now I do have the utmost pleasure of tossing to our Team Liquid Academy versus Golden Guardians Academy hype video. So let's take a watch.
Maybe one of the biggest differences this year is honestly the road to Proving Grounds for us has been a lot more difficult. Last year, after Split 2 playoffs, we kind of just knew we were the best team. And we were confident that if we played with Jenkins and Armea, we would kind of roll everyone. So
I actually really enjoy best of fives because playing on stage is probably one of the major reasons why I like playing pro is like so fun.
After playing pro for a while, you sort of crave it. You know, you want games to matter. You don't want it to just be like regular season all the time.
they like to play heavily around Ryoma. We like to play heavily around Harry. And the battle of the post mid laners in Academy is always like really entertaining to watch, I think.
I think for Tommy, Ryoma, he's the most explosive player on the team, I would say. This guy has a lot of really creative looks.
You can see that they're looking for this. Luger's going forward. He baits, calls, boom, then goes forward. After goes out, glacial fissure. Boom's taking a lot of damage. He's gonna get picked. Shockwave on the three. The combo from the Thieves absolutely shreds through Team Liquid, and that's it. That's the game.
Ryoma's always fun to verse. He unfortunately took us out last Proving Grounds, so I will be very on point. I want to look for my revenge, and I'm sure my mid laner Harry will be as well.
When so many OS players came in because of the import rule changing, like you kind of had to justify your job and your position, right, as a minor region import. So I think like we know that the winner bracket final and loser bracket final and then grand final is going to be when there's the most eyes.
Ayla were both, if I remember correctly, Ayla was on order. So like I did play against him, but their team was like pretty good, but I don't think they were like as strong as the Rays I was bot lane at the time.
She's Violet, so I've versed him maybe like 2 years in OPL so far.
The Herald. We should be looking at that.
Yep, there's the turn pull. They want to go for this fight. Look at Swipe on a nice little angle right now, going for a flank. Bear in mind, Pepros is not even here, so it's a 5v4 that actually favors Order to start things off. Massive shockwave blocks and plays too. They want.
And the year I left, he really shone. So, you know, congrats to him for shining, but it's because I wasn't there.
Violet, Vincent, kind of see him as like a silent killer almost. He's just AD carry, just right clicks things and kills people. So
I think when I was playing AV, you guys were in order. Harry and Ayla, you guys 3-1 me in playoffs, but this time I'm gonna be the player going 3-1 or 3-0 against you guys.
Yeah, like for me, the goal of Proving Grounds is just to win and to prove everyone that I'm really good. You know, whether it's be like playing with veterans and like being a rookie on the team, or being the veteran on the team and helping everyone out and making sure.
Them's fighting words, baby. I love it. Oh man, I always love to hear a little bit of the breakdown, but it is always fun to hear from some of the teams, especially going into the matchup, hearing some of the history there, specifically between Ryoma and the rest of the TL team itself. And we got to take a look at that mid lane. And as Spawn said, it is going to be a smorgasbord of action. I cannot wait. Harry versus Ryoma. And honestly, a lot of TL's hopes for that rematch riding on Harry to make sure he does have that kind of good performance against Ryoma.
I think it's really exciting to see these two players going up against each other, and I 100% agree with what Acadian said. Ryoma is probably the most explosive player that we have in all of Academy in terms of the mid laners that we have on hand. I mean, I think the stats kind of show for themselves, right? Harry has been super consistent throughout all of his laning phases, but Ryoma, on the other hand, he's way more likely to get solo kills or get solo killed himself. And so that destabilizing presence that he's going to have in the mid lane is going to make the series super interesting.
It's a testament to how long can Harry weather the storm of Ryoma in the laning phase, because when we get to the mid and the late game, that is where Harry gets to shine a lot more, especially on such comfort picks stored as long as his time back on Gravitas and extending into Order back over in the LPL. On the Azir in particular, I think that is a pick that is so signature to how Harry wants to play the game and how he wants to excel in damage output and really shining as a team fighter for his squad.
Yeah, exactly. And looking a little bit more at Harry in particular, right? Get to see the fun facts for him here. A nice little spotlight on this guy. Peak PG placement, second, 3 Academy splits, OPL finals twice. Always has the TLA cheering section behind him. And he also is apparently known for having a good taste and good interest in food. He decides a lot of their good food orders.
Now, was it your interview or was it Kangus's interview where he was like, "Yeah, I don't actually cook all that often," despite the fact that everybody says I do. It's like I'm the only one on the team who cooks.
But we got to take a look at the other side of the matchup itself. Ryoma over there. Obviously, we've already talked about these fun facts before, but most solo queue games on the entire 100 Thieves organization in 2020 spring, which is something to be proud of. I feel like in that aspect of it. Also chose that name from the Prince of Tennis without watching the show.
Yeah. The one thing I want to say about Ryoma is not only did he put in so many solo queue games back then, but he's also putting in a ton of competitive games. Now, I don't know if this is something unique to him, but it's probably something that's true of all of the Golden Guardians Academy players because they have just played so many games. I think they are all tied currently at 69 nice games played so far in the spring split, and that is nearly double what almost all the other Academy teams have done.
Yeah, thank you for that, Josh. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
But a little bit of that rivalry matchup was centered on Ayla in the bottom lane. Opposing him will be Chime. Chime himself having a glow up of a split, and especially being a centerpiece, Joshi, for the Golden Guardians Academy roster.
Yeah. My biggest disappointment here, though, is that nobody is telling the audience that he cosplayed as Emo Spider-Man at Halloween 2021. Go check out his Twitter. It's 100% true. But the big thing about Chime that has been super impressive, and Mad Magical already did a video about him, he was another one of our most valuable prospect candidates throughout the regular season. He's all over the map. The 8 at 14, 80 assists at the first 14 minutes of the game, which is way higher than any other support. The second highest was JJ at 69. Nice.
Just keep going back to that one over again. You specifically go find these stats for that reason.
They're just convenient whenever you can find them. It's just right there.
But I will say one last little bit before we do get into champ select. This bot lane is going to be stellar. I know we've focused a lot on the jungles. We focused a lot on the mid lanes, but both supports having integral parts to these teams, especially in the way that they function strategically. And the ADC is always there to show up when it matters, especially in those late game potentials. Violet and, being able to look at Yan on the other side, Joshi.
Yeah, I've been very excited again about both these players. Violet was a big unknown to us, as Mark said. We didn't get to see him until the last week of Academy. And from there, I mean, from what we saw of his play, the way that Acadian said it was just, he right-clicks people and they die. And you can't really do a whole lot more than that. That's what the AD carry role does. He's looked super solid every single time we've seen him. And that's the kind of thing that Golden Guardians has needed with how explosive their top side of the map is.
Exactly that. Well, guys, it is time. It is the first best of 5 of Proving Grounds. It's ready to kick off. Champion select, locked and loaded. Rafa, Joshi, take it away.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he said it! He said it, Josh! I'm taking it, and it's all mine. It's in my control and my power now. Let's go, baby. The best of 5s have begun, Josh, and even though this isn't elimination time for any of these players, it still means a lot because as we highlighted at the top of the day with Mazel, the winner gets not only to already qualify for the grand finals, they get a full week break off. They don't have to play until the next Friday.
And that's pretty exciting, right? Just your ability to go back and watch and see what all the other teams are going to be doing, how the meta is going to be evolving without you having to showcase anything that you're doing at the same time is going to be a really big boon to these players. Yes, stage time is good. You get over some of those nerves, but most of these players are experienced enough at this point. That's all about making sure you get those scrims in, getting good practice, make sure that you're ready to showcase what you want to do on stage. And Violet, going back to his most played champion so far this season, I believe this is his 7th game on Jinx, and he's played like hardly anything on anybody else.
You know, when we went back, I think it was last week, Josh, when we were talking about, man, you know, we're on a new patch. They nerfed Jinx during the laning phase.
No more B1 Jinx.
No more B1 Jinx, right? No, it's still good because a lot of teams are able to play and protect the Jinx during the laning phase, although we have at least seen other teams experiment with some other marksmen. The Xayah going the lethality build, trying to poke the Jinx out during the laning phase. Even more aggressive options like the Lucian maybe pop up or might pop up throughout the series. As remember, this is our first best of 5. This is where adaptation gets to be tested to the fullest.
Yeah, and this is definitely something that we have been seeing very common for both these players, right? Hecarim has become very common for Armeo so far in the Proving Grounds part of the season. And of course, Iconic has played so many games on Viego, but this is interesting. Harry actually deviating from what he's been playing a lot of. He's got a huge number of games on the LeBlanc, but now he's going to be going for the Ahri, which is actually one of Ryoma's most played so far this season, and I think it's going to be a big opportunity for him to kind of strut his stuff up against anything that Ryoma is looking to play.
I mean, we talked about how this was kind of the one half of the Super Mobile Agency combo from Team Liquid in their win against Cloud9 earlier this week. It's not the Nocturne, so you don't get the point and click guaranteed zoom, I'm coming down like a spooky ghost in the Boogeyman, but Harry on the Ahri, as long as you get out of the laning phase unscathed and you have that snowball potential, then you can start really rolling in the kills and rolling in the gold and the control for Team Liquid in the mid game.
Yeah, it also turns out that my handwriting is worse than I thought. Ryoma has barely played any Ahri this season, actually, so it's definitely something where Harry just looks to be very comfortable. LeBlanc has been seen as one of these good skill matchups and potentially counters to the Ahri that Ryoma has dabbled in, and that's one of the cool things about a lot of the Golden Guardians players so far this season is because they have played so many games over the course of just spring alone, they have these champion oceans. It is so hard to understand what it is that you need to ban out against them, and it really comes down to what do I think are bad matchups for these players, and that's the benefit of just playing so many stage games for Golden Guardians.
Yeah, I don't remember how many unique picks Ryoma has locked in across all the mid laners, but I'm pretty sure it's higher up. I know, Josh, you are definitely popping off on this Ayla Bard, though, lock in. During his time on Order in 2020, it was his second most picked champion across both splits.
Yeah. And also, I got that number for you. It's 17 unique picks so far in spring coming up from Ryoma. Second actually to Bradley in this tournament right now, because Bradley has played 18 unique champions. But seeing this Azir come through is something that is very cool for Golden Guardians. We were talking about how important it was going to be for Harry to get this champion later on in the season. And right now, we're seeing a lot of engage tools come out. Very redundant, right? Ryoma can go forward. Tony can go forward. Chime can go forward. And they're all just looking to get these fights started in order to allow Violet to, as Acadian said, just right-click people.
When we talk about Jinx compositions in the past, you think of how do you really set up a Jinx for success? Either you need a ton of burst damage to open up the fight so that she can easily clean up resets, or you open up with so many other threats that no one pays attention to the Jinx in the backline, and then suddenly, after you deal with the Camille, the Viego, and the Azir all trying to dive your backline, you're like, crap, we forgot about the Jinx. She's getting, oh no.
Oh no. Yeah, this is definitely a bit of a vibe check for both teams, right? It is game 1 of our best of 5. This is when you come in, you see what people are made of. People can be a little bit more experimental earlier on because you have at least 2 more games after this to kind of go back to the drawing board. And look at this. I love what Team Liquid are doing. They have a ton of mobility in their divers. Bradley, Armeo, Harry looking to go deep. Tony, Iconic, Ryoma looking to go deep. And there's going to be so much pressure on Violet to stay alive throughout the course of the team fight. And of course, Jan to keep himself up as well. But the one other thing we got to talk about, Mark, is the fact that this lethality Xayah is going to be ripping Golden Guardians to shreds. It does so much damage, and there's nobody who's really going to be building tank.
Yeah, I mean, it's not every day that you're going to see a Viego or a Camille building Frozen Heart second item. You know, that's usually reserved for a more durable champion, something like the Hecarim that still can go into the tank options. The Turbo Chem tank still very viable, especially he is going the phase rush build. But the other thing I want to keep an eye out, Josh, as we have been highlighting a bunch of attention towards the mid lane and the supports on the Bard for Ayla. One of the games that we had during the Academy season, Ayla came up with a very creative mid lane dive under the tower where it completely threw the team off guard. I want to see if they can manufacture that for Harry, because if you get this Ahri off the ground early against an Azir, this Azir will not have enough time in the mid game to really collect resources to defend himself, and he has to go to the side lane and start like saying, hey guys, I'm really weak right now, hold on. How do you hold on when an Ahri is just dashing around getting resets off the Spirit Rush?
True, that's one of the things I love about this Team Liquid composition is it's all spiking right at the same time. You get to that 2-item spot and suddenly Team Liquid are coming alive. And you already said, Mark, that's when Harry is going to be at his most dangerous, consistently finding these CS leads up against almost every single laner, consistently looking for these big laning advantages and just slowly pushing his opponents out. This is an opportunity to kind of continue showing us that he can pop off in the mid games.
Bum, bum, bum.
Bum, bum, bum. Are you being barred?
No, I was trying to do the dramatic fanfare music thing that you hear on like movies and stuff. Because this best of 5, this is movie time, Josh.
Yeah.
We're in for, you know, best of 3 is kind of like a short film. You come in maybe like 45 minutes to, or actually like an hour and a half, right? But for best of 5, it could be anywhere between like a solid, you know, blockbuster 2-hour film to maybe like, you know, an old masterpiece 4-hour film, 5-hour film, if we go the full distance with 5 games.
Yeah. I love the fact that we're already seeing Jan and Ayla just trying to be a little bit more aggressive in this lane just by getting here first, because they are playing this double ranged composition into what Violet and Chime are looking to do, and it gives them a lot more freedom in order to try and poke out their opponents, because even though Jan is going with the Airy and the lethality style of build, you know, your auto attacks are still just as good at level 1 as any other AD carries.
The other thing too is that you're going to have far better push as well if you can consistently get those through the minion waves as well. It's especially with the mana nerfs as well to fish bones. Just overall, just a harder time for Jinx in the laning phase to get that push reliably. And now that you have double range between Bard and Xayah, I want to see if Team Liquid can really leverage that push advantage to find those those roams from Ayla in this early part of the game.
Yeah, doesn't look like they're doing it so far. In fact, it looks like Team Liquid are in general just fighting to maintain prio in their lanes, or at least not give over too much. And one of the things that has been really nice for Harry so far is because Ayla was playing that Bard, starting with the W, just giving a couple of extra health potions, feeling a bit like Wild Rift. You just back up and find a bit more opportunities to take that bit of HP. And now we're seeing like all the trading coming through from these mid laners.
Nice engage from Chime. Actually forces Jan's hand. Immediate flash and the ignite as traded out. Violet trying to press forward and look for lethal onto Jan, but he's going to hold on to his heal summoner spell. Not using it quite yet, but Ayla and Jan are under pressure now, and Iconic is on this side of the map.
And we're going to see why this Tahm Kench has been so dangerous. It's something that Ayla has put a lot more games into this season than Chime has, but both of them just want to be able to fight, and now Armeo's looking top.
Uh-oh. I don't think the hook shot is available from Tony Top. It comes up, but can he trade it back to Bradley? It's going to be close. Ignite, one more tick, not enough. The potion sticking down, and first blood is guaranteed for Team Liquid.
Yeah, that's what happens. We have no flash. Armeo looking to punish it. Remember we were saying there's a double the jungle proximity coming up from Armeo for Bradley, then Iconic for Tony Top. Knowing he's not likely to be up there just means it's an easy gank coming through from Armeo. And Iconic, he's only going to end up even in terms of farm out on the map. He's not necessarily finding an advantage just quite yet. And this feels like Team Liquid really knowing where they need to find some opportunities.
And it's so nice for Armeo to find this gank onto Tony Top, because this laning phase, as you already see for Akali, it's so brutal early on against the Camille, but if you start getting ahead early and you rush that level 6, then Akali starts to win the matchup, and then you have so much more freedom to start looking for roams afterwards.
Yeah, Akali is kind of garbage in the first couple of levels of the game. There are very few champions that you can actually...
Trash.
Yeah, total trash. You do not... You know, if you could pick Akali and just start the game at level 6 and just said everybody starts the game at level 6, Akali would be way happier with that kind of situation. But this is one where you're already getting a small advantage of first blood going over to Bradley. We know that he's played a lot of different champions as well. He actually has more one-ofs than I think any other player in the Academy system this time around. But look at this, both supports. We said they were going to be roaming up into the mid lane, and Ayla and Chime just kind of hovering around each other, daring each other to go back to lane.
And I would argue, Josh, that that stat in particular for Chime, the 80 assists before 14 minutes, I feel like Ayla would be able to match that number. Unfortunately, he was in LCS for the first half of the Academy
My
split.
bad.
So he wasn't even there for most of the Team Liquid Academy games, which is another reason why this Team Liquid squad took a long time to really come back into its groove again.
Now, for all the Golden Guardians fans out there, we do have to give them a little bit of credit. When the Ayla did come back from LCS, Golden Guardians immediately 2-0'd them. Right. In fact, Golden Guardians 2-0'd them super brutally when Ayla was coming back because they hadn't yet figured out all their synergy, and now they're looking to punish him again.
Ayla should have Master Journey. Bam. Turns into a penguin and is he's safe on the other side.
Yeah. I mean, looking pretty good, but that's one of the big things that we do have to pay attention to is based off of purely recent results, it is something that is in Golden's favor. They did win the 2-0 most recently, though Team Liquid 2-0'd them originally when they were still playing with Rhino, and now Yon has no flash.
They want to punish it. Iconic is still in the area here, but Yon is keeping somewhat distance here. Ayla also trying to screen and look for a Cosmic Binding to see if that'll be enough, but Iconic wants to flash over, and Chime is also flashing forward. Just a couple more auto attacks, but just good spacing from Ayla, protecting his marksman. And now Armeo, after, might be able to see a counter gank option here. Violet and Chime still pushing forward, but they don't get any kills off the back of it. Iconic already fell, and Violet has been debated forward. Team Liquid with a huge punish.
Ayla is so good, man. He was always looking for another, looking for Tony.
No way, Bradley. Oh, nice timing from Tony Top with the Hextech ultimatum, dodging out on the second cast with perfect execution. But so far, Josh, all of Team Liquid making huge money moves.
Oh my, big money moves all over the map. And as we take a look at this replay, the big thing to pay attention to is how Ayla is constantly sitting on top. And I'm really impressed with Iconic actually able to land that stun. But notice that Ayla saved his Q the entire time, waiting for Chime and Iconic to line up for the stun in the middle of the wave. And yes, there's an opportunity here for Violet to potentially pick that up, but he was so focused, he was so sure they were going to be able to pick it up. And then Armeo able to clean everything. They get the dragon as well, and suddenly it just feels like Team Liquid are outplaying Golden Guardians on every single front.
Such a awesome test of endurance from the Team Liquid bot lane, holding on to the very bitter end, and as you already pointed out, great patience from Ayla, waiting for the right moment, not expending the Cosmic Binding just because they were in trouble. He had to see the right moment. And now Golden Guardians, they're at a point in the game where it's before 8 minutes, they're down 2,000 gold. It's not game over quite yet, but this is a huge deficit that they need to overcome as they get into the mid game.
Yeah, and remember what we were saying about what Harry was doing, consistently finding CS leads? He's up about a wave and a half right now over Ryoma. And Ryoma is supposed to be one of the best mid laners in Academy, and I maintain that he probably still is. But an important thing to pay attention to, Harry has a higher CSD pretty consistently. And the big thing is when Ryoma is pushed up against the wall, that's when he gets dangerous. He's got the most solo kills of all mid laners early on in the game, but he also has the most deaths before 15 minutes. So don't be surprised if Ryoma just kind of looks for something a little bit crazy. If he ever smells weakness, Harry and Ryoma are going to come to blows.
Yeah, that goes what their coach Acadian said at the top of the day in the video, right? You're talking about probably one of the most creative and explosive mid laners in all of Academy, and so that makes him a wild card in the sense that you don't know what this guy is going to do if he feels like the game is getting out of hand and out of control for Golden Guardians.
Yeah.
He might look for something that is either going to swing the game back into his favor or catapult it even further.
Yeah, you don't know me, I'm crazy. And this is what Ryoma is going to be trying to do for the rest of the game. But once again, Team Liquid finding another neutral objective, and it feels like Armeo's time early on in the game is just being a little bit better spent, right? He's farming a little bit better. He's had more successful ganks than Iconic, and now this is going to be on the LCS Golden Guardians jungler that we saw from last year, trying to find an opportunity to showcase why he deserves that spot back. But I mean, Armeo, formerly Grig, trying to do the exact same thing. Both these guys have spent time in the LCS looking for opportunities to just win all of these games all on their own and showcase that they have the tactical acumen to bring themselves back into the top level.
And right now you see Ayla and Armeo making the slow rotation over to the mid lane, depending on how Ryoma uses his upcoming abilities.
Oh,
nice charm from Harry! That's an immediate flash! And with Ayla using the ultimate to take out the turret temporarily, it allows the three-man squad to make the dive against Ryoma.
Every single thing coming together for Team Liquid, the charm landing, the tempered fate preventing the turret, and just as you were saying in the pre-show, Mark, the Hecarim and the Ahri choosing when fights actually happened. It just feels like Team Liquid are working as a well-oiled machine, looking for every single one of these opportunities, and as long as they can find these advantages now, the mid-game's only going to get better. We know how scary Lethality Zaya is, we know how good Harry can be once he's actually found the lead, and when they're starting to peel these plates off the bottom lane turret, when they have total control, and now Bradley is past level 6 and has an advantage, I'm not sure how Golden Guardians are going to withstand this mid-game.
It's still a 2,000 gold deficit for Golden Guardians, so it overall hasn't increased that much, but the overall momentum and the pressure that has been surmounted by Team Liquid has already allowed them to get the first Rift Herald of the game, the first Dragon of the game. They're about to set up for the second Dragon of the game. If Team Liquid gets that as well, and they time the Rift Herald at a nice spot as well to either knock out a turret completely or just funnel even more brick gold, I mean, now the gold advantage is going to just swing out of control and out of Golden Guardians' reach.
It's just looking so good overall for Team Liquid, right? And they were the team who actually said in one of our interviews behind the scenes was that, yeah, best of 5? I was like, yeah, whatever. It's just a different version of a best of 3, right? It's just a longer edition. And so this is a team that is so used to having this competitive experience that they're not worried about having the stamina necessary to go a full 5 rounds this time. They are so confident that they are going to have a good time. And I mean, as we start paying attention towards the upcoming objective, we are past the 11-minute mark. We are looking at our second dragon, and Jesus, Bradley, calm down, man.
Yeah, Bradley took it really personally that Tony Top was beating him up so badly in the early laning phase. But you know, like you said, Josh, this is the point of the game where once Akali is level 9, not only she has access to perfect execution, but also max points in the 5-point shuriken. That thing does so much damage, as you already see it witnessed.
Yeah, and when you have the slow on it as well, Bradley just able to weave in and out. It feels like both of these top laners have that little bit of extra movement speed to play around with. And now, with the Dragon coming up, we're noticing that Team Liquid are all over that, like flies over honey, right? They're looking for an opportunity to pick up everything they possibly can and lock out Golden Guardians, put them on a timer, at which point they will have to fight. So Team Liquid, as long as something crazy doesn't happen from trying here, should be very comfortably leading.
You know, as we highlighted before, if Team Liquid didn't contest or weren't contested this Dragon, they are now in a super nice position going into the mid game. This Rift Herald being dropped means that first brick won't be taken out completely, but it's more gold funneled into Harry. Chime is here to see if he can look for an opportunity to punish, but Armel is right back. Make sure that Chime cannot punish anything. He wants to get the flash out immediately out of Chime. Will trade his ultimate for that spell.
Yeah, I'm very, very bold from Romeo, but if your opponents believe you, then it's going to work. I feel like Chime probably could have worked out, but Chime didn't necessarily know that. He saw Ayla right in the corner. He's like, oh no, how many other people are here? And got to make sure you get out of dodge. But look at how much control Team Liquid are taking. This is what we were looking at when we said these are potentially our tournament favorites. They have so much experience. They're looking so strong there. They've been here before, and they just feel like one of these teams that are able to get past the how do we play our lanes phase. They already know how to do that. They just need to figure out how they can take control of the map, and they are absolutely keeping tabs on Iconic everywhere he could possibly go.
And we are now at the 14-minute mark. It is a 4,000 gold advantage for Team Liquid heading into the mid game. This is super substantial. You already see that it is reflected in pretty much almost everyone on Team Liquid having completed their mythics, whereas for Golden Guardians, they're still waiting on a few hundred extra gold so that they can make that completion. Bradley doesn't have his mythic quite yet, but he's still strong enough to take it to Tony Top in the 1v1.
Yeah, and it does eventually get better for Tony, right? Eventually he will be able to fight this once again, but he just blew his teleport to get back to lane, and now he's going to have to walk up with no teleport, where Bradley has access to the rest of the map, and this is what Team Liquid were really good at previously. Oh.
Man, that feels so frustrating for Golden Guardians. They burn Ignite, they look for the engage, and Ayla's just like, bro, we've got a wall here. I can just pass through. What are you gonna do?
You do know I'm playing Bard, right? I'm good, right? Oh, most other supports would have been in a bad spot, but look at this, the cross map coming through after Iconic shows bottom lane. Armeo once again looking to make Tony a bit uncomfortable and continue to give Bradley more space up here in the top lane. This turret is gonna take a beating if it doesn't go down.
Yon, he has a substantial health advantage over Violence. Gotta be careful though. Rockets do tend to hurt, and Super Mega Death Rocket is still available.
Iconic's here.
It's gonna be forced to use it. Can Chime look for the punish? But Iconic isn't close enough to make his descent quite yet. Iconic though, over the wall. He's gonna respect Yon's trade damage. Doesn't want to use the Heartbreaker quite yet.
Going to be very careful, and Armeo running down, giving Iconic pause and kind of rewarding him for his like, maybe we probably shouldn't do this, but Armeo has his ultimate once again, and look how quickly Armeo is moving from top side to the bottom side. He was just top. He was just helping Bradley. This is what he's able to do, right, on this Hecarim as Armeo. He knows that he can move around. He knows he clears faster, and yes, he's got Krugs that's already spawned, but he just needs to make sure that his lane stay strong. And despite the fact that the game has calmed down relatively hard, Mark, we said that Armeo just need to get his team into mid-game. They're in the mid-game, and their opponents have objective bounties.
Yep. This is what we highlighted as such a huge strength for Armeo going into the jungle matchup specifically, right? Armeo's not necessarily the flashiest jungler, the one like Kemby who is looking for these flash plays or looking for insects of some sort, but Armeo is the caretaker. He is the dad, as you said. He's making sure that all of his lanes are growing up, they're succeeding. I think you did.
I called a lot of players daddy, but I don't remember doing it for Armeo.
Oh, well, yeah, I think it was Mazel, because Mazel is like the sports dad, you know?
Yeah, okay. Well, Yon is in trouble.
And he doesn't have ultimate either. No Featherstorm. This should be an easy pickup. Kenper Fate, though, doesn't find enough time. No way!
My God!
Harry and Bradley, the Team Liquid hero signal has been activated, and all 5 members show up to save Yon from the dive, and they turn it around.
Oh God, what do you do if you're Golden Guardians? Ayla's able to save him when he's not even on the same screen. They're able to move around, they double teleport, they give nothing back because Armeo was still topside. There's no way for Tony to even hit that turret. This is Team Liquid blowing up the game and shutting down any opportunity for Golden Guardians to play. Absolutely nuts. They get 2 turrets out of it too. Mark!
Joshi, this is the power of Ayla's Bard. It has been tested, it has been proved during his time on Order in the OPL in Season 10, and this is what you can do with it. You can pull off teleport plays like this, buy so much time for your marksman to survive. That is only something that Ayla would be able to communicate to his team because of his experience on this champion.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy how well they're able to do that. Yon hugging the turret well enough to make sure he gets hit by the Tempered Fate and even dodging the ultimate coming out from Violet. Now Team Liquid have that clock all good to go. They got another dragon. They're here way before. They still have vision control. There's no way for the members of Golden Guardians to walk in. And they even have members moving topside to make sure that Golden Guardians can't be hitting this Herald at the same time. It feels like Team Liquid are taking all of the boxes and checking them off one by one. Yes, this is how you play good League of Legends. Yes, this is why everybody's looking to us as one of the tournament favorites. And as Golden Guardians look for a dive, Team Liquid are already on the way up to say, no, you can't.
We're at 18 minutes. We have 3 dragons for Team Liquid. They are at soul point before the 20-minute mark. At this point as Golden Guardians, when you have no turrets taken, no kills taken, objective bounties skyrocket.
Okay,
you
well.
have to look for something, and I'm going to applaud Golden Guardians right here because they are
No
all
way.
leaning on to Bradley.
No
There's
way.
There's no way that he gets down. How does Team Liquid keep getting away with this? This is incredible League of Legends that we are witnessing here, ladies and gentlemen, in the winners finals of Proving Grounds. Bradley and Ayla stalling enough time for the rest of the cavalry to come in, and they are the ones that are stampeding all over Golden Guardians.
Oh my god, Mark. The first 19 minutes coming out from Team Liquid are perfect. 9-0, 3 turrets to none. They've got the Rift Herald. They've gotten 3 dragons. What more could you be asking of any team on the Rift? They are keeping everybody alive. Ayla, once again, saving people from a different screen with the Tempered Fate. This Ayla, well, I thought it was Chime who's supposed to be the Bard player. He's actually a Thresh player, but Ayla is now looking to be an absolute god. The only reason why he's not another one of our most valuable prospect candidates is because he didn't play enough games. This guy is sick.
He was covering for Core JJ on the Team Liquid LCS stage, and he did such an admirable job of it too. That Core JJ gave him his props. It's like, dude, Ayla is the second best support in LCS. Like, far none. And that is such a outstanding just credit to give to an aspiring LCS support like Ayla. I mean, we already thought that this guy had made such amazing moves throughout the Academy season in summer last year. But the fact that he isn't on an LCS team means that Team Liquid are holding on to a very, very powerful player right now.
Yeah, I know one of the big reasons why. We've been talking about Smacks a lot today, but we'll give him credit for this one in a good way, right? He was saying the only reason why Ayla wasn't already in LCS was because he was on the same team as Core JJ. Right?
Yep.
Like, when you have the best support and the second best support in the region on the same roster, well, unfortunately, it's kind of like when we saw, oh man, what was the guy behind Faker? Who played a lot of Azir back in the day.
Oh my goodness, he played Azir all the time.
Yeah, somebody in Twitch chat's gonna know, but, you know, he was, like, arguably the second best mid laner in Korea at the time, and now Harry's just looking for Violet. Easy hood. Okay, well, easy
once
hood.
again, this time it's looking for Violet and Armeo with the onslaught of shadows. Chime's going to try to devour and save his marksman from going down, but I don't think it's going to be all for naught. A perfect game in the making for Team Liquid. Still no towers taken by Golden Guardians, no kills, nothing given over. Team Liquid are taking everything on the map.
Okay, Bradley's the one person, but he's teleporting out before they can get to him. They were trying to make a play. Okay, they finally get him.
Okay, iconic, quick moves to be able to root Bradley down. Unfortunately, there's no Tempered Fate available from Ayla from downtown, but Bradley, no way. Don't tell me you get out of this once again. The slow from Ryoma is keeping him in line, but if he gets another shuriken backflip, finally, iconic will force the flash out, get the Heartbreaker, and Golden Guardians do find their first kill of the game. But Josh, I think it's too late for that.
If Bradley got out of that one, I would have burst into tears at how gorgeous this game has been, because it has been so good. Bradley started the teleport just barely too late. If he had done it a second faster, right, he would have been out. But these are the margins by which Team Liquid are playing in order to keep themselves alive, keep themselves ahead in this game. And ultimately, he's going to be up for the Infernal Soul. So while their perfect game is unfortunately gone, Mark, nobody can discredit the way that Team Liquid have played this game thus far. They've been looking immaculate across it, and it's not like one single player is looking good. Well, okay, Ayla is looking like a freaking monster, but every single person on this team is taking turns making big points.
Ayla! Okay, pop stasis, teleports are coming in, the hero signal has been used, Temper Fate right on top of them, and now you have the Team Liquid Cavalry full stride. Ayla will go down. Golden Guardians do find their second kill of the game, doubling their overall kill score, but they need to find a way to slow down the game even further than this, because it is still an 8,000 gold deficit that they have to surmount. And I just have a tough time believing that it is possible with how damn good the play is coming from Team Liquid.
Yeah, this should be an opportunity for them to crack potentially an inhib right now with this Rift Herald. Not even going to be doing damage to the turret with it. And the great part about this is because they have so much tempo, because they're pushed up so far right now, the way that Team Liquid are playing means that they can get this inhibitor and then back out to the Infernal Soul while Bradley hits the mid lane, right? They are getting everything done. Again, checking off box after box. Another turret goes down in the mid lane. They are 10,000 gold ahead at 23 minutes, and there's no way the Golden Guardians can get here, right? They
Josh,
can't walk through.
When is the last time you've seen a Rift Herald be able to take out an inhibitor?
It doesn't happen that often. I mean, that's the kind of thing that Team Liquid are going to be looking to do over and over. And as we see this go down, a Infernal Soul coming through about 23.5 minutes. But again, you know, it feels like Ayla was like, okay, I'm tired of saving other people. Let me see if I can try and save myself. Unfortunately, he was not the hero that Ayla needed this time around. He's just been the hero that everybody else has deserved.
How ironic. He could save others, but he could not save himself in the end.
Yeah, Darth Ayla. Is that what we're hearing?
I think it would look good in a black kit, you know.
Yeah, I think so too.
He can rock it. It looks slick.
We'll see. We'll run it by him after the game is over, right? We'll see what he thinks
you
about
can tell when we're making Star Wars references on the Winners Finals broadcast, you know that this game is in a very dire situation for the enemy team, and it is looking pretty darn good for Team Liquid as we are beginning to close out the game one. It is super hard to come back from a game when your opponents already have Infernal Soul. Elder would be the ultimate game-changing win con. But I think Team Liquid are going to be able to play a clean game from here on out.
Yep, they're backing up a little bit, making sure that they can't get engaged upon. And yeah, the big thing that I'm excited about, Mark, is as you said, this is game one. This is a best of 5. Remember, these two teams during the regular season were 2-2. They each 2-0'd each other at different points during the regular season for Academy. The last time these guys played each other in best of 5 was lower bracket finals last year in Summer Proving Grounds, where Golden Guards had made the miracle run after getting knocked down in the first round and winning everything up until they got 3-2'd by Team Liquid last time. So in recent memory, these guys are super, super tight. And the fact that this game is a total blowout is a huge testament to Team Liquid, but it's not to take away from Golden Guardians because we know they're going to be firing back.
Oh yeah, and in Golden Guardians, much respect that they haven't let down the gas pedal. They're still looking for plays. They're still looking for ways to get back in this game, because at the end of the day, until your Nexus explodes, every game is winnable, no matter how dire it looks. And in Yawn, they have forced out the Featherstorm. That's an important cooldown if you're looking to another objective fight within the next 45 seconds. Unfortunately, there's not really any objectives to fight for. It's just base defense at this point.
Yeah, the one thing that Team Liquid is going to kind of struggle with is trying to break the rest of the map, right? They don't have the greatest dive in the world, and they're mostly just waiting for either the Baron buff to come up so they can take it again, or to kill Azir. Because as long as one of those things isn't true, Team Liquid is kind of going to be walking into the wall of Jinx and Azir wave clear. And that's kind of what we've been seeing on why the game's stalling out for a little while. But Team Liquid, they're not worried. They have this to play for. It's not synced up with the Elders, so they don't have to make any particularly difficult decisions. And Golden Guardians know that they can't afford to let the Baron go over for free. So this should be the last stand for Golden Guardians here in the next minute or so.
Yeah, for Team Liquid, the last nail in the coffin to be knocked down is securing this Baron so that they have a reliable way of knocking out the outer structures of the base. And it starts with the vision control on the top side of the map. As you already see, Golden Guardians are trying to get any last minute wards in before the Baron spawns, but as Team Liquid are making their rounds, closing out any vision from this quadrant, it's going to be so scary for Golden Guardians to make an approach, as it's completely shrouded in darkness.
Yeah, it's an insane early warning system that Golden Guardians are going to have to walk through, and you're going into Aura Charm, you're going into Bard Stun, you're going to be trying to face check just the fact that Yawn can do a ton of damage to you from kind of wherever he wants. But Team Liquid, They're still trying to make sure that they cross their T's and dot their I's. They're making sure that this mid lane is pushed back so that Golden Guardians have an extra thing that they have to try and deal with. We're almost down in the bottom side, and only now do Team Liquid actually go for the Baron. They are making sure that they make no mistakes, not leaving any gold left on the map. As they start to hit this, they don't really care how quickly or how slowly they do it because they know that Golden Guardians can't really come check it anyway.
And there's nothing that they will lose for how much time that they take. Elder Dragon isn't spawning for another minute and 40, so Vision Control, they will still have enough time to go back, re-sweep, and lay down the wards necessary for it. And no one is threatening a tower take from the side of Golden Guardians. Remember, they still have only taken out one total turret on the top side of the map. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, Tony.
I think he's fine. He's got hex shot. Or hook shot, I should say. Violet, almost in a bad situation, but at Gale Force. Yo, Bradley. That's Giga Chad status right there.
I mean, look at this, right? We were saying that they were waiting for the Baron buff to come through. They got the Baron buff and instantly the turrets fall. Right? What more could you be asking for from Team Liquid? And now as they threaten to take all 3 inhibitors, they just need to play it. They don't even need to play it that good. Look how low Ryoma goes.
Good God, Ryoma has been chunked out just from a few stray skill shots from Team Liquid. They haven't really committed any major spells outside of the Tempered Fate. The middle inhibitor will fall, the bottom inhibitor gets the respawn, but the top one is falling. And Team Liquid, I imagine, will take some time to respawn, get the teleports in. They want to continue the siege. And looking for the bottom side of the map, Tony Top has routed off Ayla, no Tempered Fate. Ayla is gone, and Ryoma pushes back Bradley, but he's still back in there with the perfect execution. Finding Iconic on the backside of that one. And Romeo is back with the onslaught of shadows. AoE Fear sends Golden Guardians packing as Team Liquid will send us to Game 2 with Game 1 taken.
Oh my god, Team Liquid looked so good. They made a couple of small mistakes here and there, but the end result is looking immaculate. They played their early game perfect for the first, I think it was it 13 minutes of the game. They didn't give over any deaths, they didn't give over any objectives. 18 minutes? Like, what more is there to do? If you can have this kind of game over and over, this is going to be a fast day. We can start to wrap it up, but we know it's not going to be a fast day. This is Golden Guardians that we're talking about, man. They have played more games. This is their 70th game that they played in competitive that we've seen so far in spring.
Now, Golden Guardians are no strangers to, facing some early, fast, dominant wins. And it is the growth that they have shown over the course of the spring split, over these past 3 months since the beginning of January, that has allowed them to become a more proficient team, a more adaptable team. And in a best of 5 setting, this is where we get to see Golden Guardians flex that. I imagine that this shouldn't be the same thing that we see from Team Liquid Game 2, Game 3, back to back to back. But that is a huge confidence booster if you're on the side of Team Liquid.
And that's what you always like to see in best of 5s, right? Momentum is a huge part of how the game plays out. You know when you're feeling good. You know when you're able to make these kind of plays, you're going to be playing better. You're going to have to think about, some of the small details a little bit less because you're confident you're going to execute on them. And that's what we love to see coming out from Team Liquid right out the gate.
All right, well, Golden Guardians, let's see those adaptations come on through. This is the best of 5, so you still have plenty of time to make them happen and still find that first game win. But off the back of Team Liquid's Game 1 victory, we'll be taking a short break. When we come back, it is Game 2 and a post-game halftime show with Mazel.